"The problem with salt water is that it remembers everything," Arthur whispered, though he was talking more to the tide than to the girl shivering on the limestone ledge. Elara wasn't shivering because of the cold. She was shivering because something thin, slick, and decisively sentient was currently treating her anatomy like a luxury apartment. The cove was a jagged tooth of basalt and brine, hidden from the main beach of the island by a curtain of weeping willows and salt spray. Elara had come here for the ritual of the solstice, the skinning of the clothes, the plunge into the silver-black water, and the feeling of being absolutely nothing. But the water in this part of the archipelago was home to the glass-eels, translucent predators no thicker than a pencil and possessed of a relentless, inquisitive curiosity. She had felt the tickle at first, a sudden, electric zip of movement. Then, with a precision that felt almost surgical, the creature had found its way home. "I can't get it out," Elara gasped, clutching a damp towel to her chest. "Arthur, it's inside. It's actually inside." Arthur was the local eccentric, a man who spent his days collecting sea glass and his nights reading books on hydrodynamics that were too old to be legal. He lived in a shack made of driftwood and driftwood glue, and he was the only person on the island who didn't find the notion of a parasitic eel in a girl's clitoris to be an insurmountable tragedy. "Don't panic," Arthur said, his voice as dry as a sun-bleached bone. "If you panic, your muscles contract. If they contract, you'll grip the poor thing. Then it gets scared, and a scared eel is a biting eel." "I am panicking," Elara shrieked. "It's moving. I can feel it. It's exploring." "That's just the curiosity," Arthur noted, stepping closer but keeping a respectful distance. He reached into his bucket and pulled out a small, ornate vial of concentrated molasses and fermented sea moss. The glass-eel is a tactile scavenger. It's not trying to eat you, it's trying to find a way back to the current. It's confused by the warmth. Elara looked at the vial, then at the water, then at the sheer absurdity of her situation. She had come for a spiritual awakening, and she was currently being colonized by a fish. "What do I do?" "The lure," Arthur explained. "They can't resist the scent of the moss. I need you to lean back against the rock, relax every muscle in your pelvic floor, really let the tide do the work, and I will place a drop of this on the edge of the opening. The scent will create a sensory trail. It'll swim right out to get to the treat." The next 10 minutes were an exercise in agonizing vulnerability. Elara lay back on the warm limestone, the salt air stinging her eyes. Arthur, with the steady hand of a surgeon, applied the pungent, sweet concoction. For a moment, everything went still. Then, a sudden, sharp sensation of sliding a reverse zip, and a tiny, translucent ribbon of a fish shot out of her and leaped into the shallow tide pool beside her. Elara bolted upright, gasping, as the eel flicked its tail and vanished into the deep. "You're a very strange man, Arthur," she said, finally pulling her dress over her head. "And you," Arthur replied, picking up his bucket and turning toward the path, "are a very lucky girl. Most people have to pay for a thrill that visceral." Elara watched him walk away, feeling a strange, humming warmth where the creature had been. She looked back at the water, the silver surface shimmering under the moon, and decided that next time she'd bring a swimsuit.